Blessings and welcome. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for February 18th through to March 1st. Thank you all of the new subscribers for hopping on, for liking, commenting, and just being here, a part of this blessed community. I'm so very grateful, and I truly intend that everything I share serves your path of spiritual growth and spiritual sovereignty. Thank you to everyone who joins me on Thursday mornings for my weekly live stream 4D Trinity, where we cover everything metaphysics, multidimensional, spiritual growth, fourth dimensional consciousness. If that's of interest to you, make sure you tune in or check out the playlist. I'll put a link up top later. This week on 4D Trinity, and once a month I do a live Q&A, Ask Me Anything. So if you have any question about anything at all, you can email me. My contact is down below, or hop on the day and leave your question in the comments. And what I do is I channel wisdom from your higher self in alignment and in conjunction with the Osho Zen Tarot for the highest good, that I may offer you some divine messages that will truly serve you at this time regarding whatever question you have about anything at all. So again, I'm so very grateful. Let's go ahead and get right into it. You know, all my information is down below. Follow me on Instagram, donate to this channel, subscribe at my website, and thank you again for being here. I use the Osho Zen for our main reading, and also we start off with a card from the Voyager deck to give us an overview. And as you know, I recently have been practicing with these beautiful little angel cards, so we'll see what our guidance is to pull one or two of those as we go. But let's go ahead and take a moment to call in our angels and our guides and say thank you. Oh wow, we already had two poppers here. So we say thank you. We say thank you for these two cards, our divine angels. We call in and connect with our higher self and all of those light beings who love us for the highest good of all. We call on your divine wisdom. And may I please and always divinely commune and communicate the most high messages that truly serve everyone guided to watch this show. And so it is. So we have two cards here. I'm telling you, this is the one. And this is a very powerful one. Look at this. These two just came out right. We hardly even had to shuffle, and I did pre-shuffle. You know, remember last week, right? Again, I'll come back, I'll put links up top. Last week's tarot was very, very profound in that we were recognizing we had reached a new level, a plateau, a beautiful alignment of mastery within ourselves, of mastership within ourselves. And this card really brings it home. And you know what? I don't know if you're feeling it, but I have been feeling this shift, this like amazing, important shift. And in this month's love letter, I'm going to definitely be writing about grounding. If you are not a subscriber at my website, again, go down. The link is, I think it's the first link down below. First page of my website, you can subscribe. And every month I send out a love letter, my monthly newsletter. And I will be offering through that love letter a little worksheet on guidelines on how to practice, methods for practicing grounding, everyday things to be in consideration of. I really know, for me, I'm feeling this. And I was telling my roommate just earlier today that it's Kundalini, but what's happening is that we're getting used to this Kundalini activation. We're getting used to the bubblings up, the percolations of this life force, right? We're getting used to holding more love and more light in the channels in our body. We're bridging heaven on earth realization. We're allowing ourselves to learn how to relax in this time and space of no-thingness. And that's mastery, right? Is really resting in the 0 point, which is, you know, a lot of our conversation dips in and out around those realms in our 4DT teachings that we share here. Well, this is the card of the master. This is the master card. This is the Sage of Worlds. I mean, you can't get any higher in regards to master specific to the individual in this Voyager tarot deck. So you know what, we're going to just get right in. I'm going to read to you. I will hold up the card. These are James Wanless's Voyager tarots. I love them, and they have really and truly served us collectively in helping to navigate these readings and the teachings therein. So I'm going to hold this up so you can have a look, and we are going to read. Sage of worlds, master, through experience you have mastered your craft. Because you know how the wheels turn in the world, you have mastered the wheel of fortune. As the master of your art, you see your reflection in your work. Perform your trade and fulfill your responsibilities impeccably. Use your worldly life to cultivate your inner character. Engage in right livelihood of living healthy, wealthy, happy, and holy. Through your knowledge and the quality of your efforts, you achieve power and status, symbolized by the crown and elk horns. Though king of the mountain, nevertheless, be humble, modest, and share of your wealth. As one who is fully established, relax in your work, play at it and enjoy it. Take time out to pursue your hobbies, get energized, be with your friends, and follow a spiritual path. You know, this, I pray and I affirm and I expect, I just expect that this resonates with you as much as it resonates with me. And if you're watching this, I assume that it does, right? That there is going to be fractal aspects, at least, of the meaning, of the definition, of the offerings of this card, of this wisdom, that speak to you. You know, as we align and relax into the master that we are, what we get to do, and this has been a part of our conversation now, is we get to relinquish control. We get to release the how, when, who, what, where. Everything happens and goes down, right? We get to allow a higher order to channel through our lives, to channel through our thoughts, through our words, through our actions, our deeds, our creations, and to really guide us in how to share of those creations, to share of those divine gifts that are coming through us, those talents and abilities, those things that as a master that this card portrays that we have mastered, right? We are no longer trying to sharpen our tools, trying to sharpen our gifts, talents, and abilities. This card is saying, like, you know what you're good at. You know what the skills are that you have. You know how you can help yourself to have a better life, to enjoy your life more, and in turn also help others. And that's that circulation of the life force. That's the giving ourselves up to God, to love, to light, to the most high of the universe, to the highest good, and saying, use me. You know, how shall I share these gifts? How shall I share these projects? How should I move forward in engaging with the co-creationship with the body of the universe and bringing this into the 3D and bringing this vision in my heart that I seek to manifest? How do I bring this down to earth? And see, what happens is as we align with this level of mastery, there's levels of mastery, and this level of mastery, especially since we were all mastered up last week, we're going to the next level of this mastery that speaks to the part of us that has relinquished, that is living in so much trust, that has relinquished control. That's that next level of mastery is, okay, so we learn how to hone the craft. We learn how to be really good at what it is that we do, what it is we're here to do, be, embody, and share. We train, right? We're initiated. And we know here, at least what I teach here, is that the initiation is your path of self-healing. As you learn to heal thyself, you get to know thyself. And it's through healing thyself that you get to know every secret of the universe, when you really pay attention, because everything is you and you are everything. And as you begin to relay and commune in that divine, intimate relationship with those sacred shadow parts or those hidden parts of self, well, you are unearthing, you are turning over those stones that would otherwise be left alone. And that is a part of the path of mastery. So we've amassed this initiation. We've initiated. Here we are. Last week we were riding the magic carpet of now, that beautiful tapestry that is carrying us. And so this is a continuation of us being carried. This is a continuation. This is the higher self, the collective higher self, the universe saying, okay, kid, I see you. I see you, Master. I see you've been mastering up, you've been showing up, you've been doing your work, you've been meditating, you've been maintaining the spiritual discipline, the spiritual communion that is required to be a responsible master, to be, as this card said, the impeccable master, right? Because we are, it's like walking a path in this world without leaving any footprints at all. That's the level of impeccability that this card, this crowning card, is inviting us, is to be invisible to a fashion, to go to the next level of letting go-ness, of letting go and letting God, of letting go and letting love, of letting go of us figuring it out. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't have goals. This doesn't mean that there isn't a plan as such sketched out in your journal or in your mind, in your heart, of the aspirations that you know that excite you to reach towards. This does not mean that we let them go. This means that as much as we know they are coming closer, we get to the equal degree continue to let go of, on one hand, whether it even ever happens at all, which is very powerful, especially if you feel like, I've put my whole life into this. There's a book that I've been working on for like 20 years. Okay, 19, but still, close enough. And you know, there's these projects or these things, and we begin to identify with them, and we can become a little greedy, or we can become a little attached. Where that's my book, that's my idea, that's my thing, and I want to do it my way. Well, what this MasterCard is saying is like, okay, that's nice. That's nice, you have an idea of how you think it should happen. But the MasterCard is saying, keep spinning those wheels, keep producing, keep being creative, keep gifting your gifts, yet keep letting go equally as much so that you can be shown where to go and what to do with those gifts that you're spinning forth. And so, as much as you may have your plan, your goal sheet, your vision, which is very important, there's this equal part of burning the vision. You know, in my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, link down below in the Show More box, we talk about this idea of you know, a vision board, creating your vision board. And we equally talk about, you know, create the vision, visualize how you think it's supposed to be, what are the characters in your play, how you would imagine it working out to being really wonderful and fluid and flowing and great. And then once you have all that juiciness, that excitement and those visions and everything's calibrated, burn your vision board. Right? And you can literally do that physically in the fire, or it can be energetically, metaphorically, where you create the vision, you create the goal, the plan, the ideas, right, of how, again, you think it's supposed to go down. But then equally as excited as you get about creating it, about thinking you know how you're going to make it all happen, get as equally excited about burning it down and letting go of all those things of how you think it's supposed to happen, so that you don't get tripped up by them. That's mastery, so that you don't get tripped up by them as you continue spinning, as you continue weaving, as you continue creating your fortune. This is it, my friends. We have arrived. We know what the truth in our heart is now. We have come to this point. We know what the truth in our heart is now. We're going to start shuffling the Osho. And we're starting to live it, right? That was a part of last week where we are like, we're no longer, you know, trying to be a master. It's like, oh no, whoa, oh, hello. This is what it feels like to live self-mastery. This is what it feels like to be a master of my time and space, to be mindful and aware of the power, the value, and the currency that my words, that my thoughts, that my actions have in my world. So owning that and taking responsibility. As a master takes responsibility of every experience they have, because they know that they themselves are at the root of it. And as we come into deeper and deeper levels of mastery, and we begin to disappear, right? We talk about the dropping of atoms. As you begin to disappear, as the stories of the pain of your past start to be released, the truth of who you innately are and who you've come into this life, in this world, into this body to be this time around, is allowed space to shine, to show you, to have a new conversation, a whole new story, to begin to bridge what I call heaven on earth. That truth in your heart, that vision in your heart, not necessarily the vision conjured in your mind that you think would make you feel safe, or that you think winning that $1 million in the lotto would just solve all your problems or whatever. It's a little more intricate than that, but it's also equally as sophisticated and elegant, because it's the truth in your heart. And that, my friends, is what is calling now. That is a new level of mastery where you let go, and we keep saying it. And look at our first card to fall out here is silence. So you know, our hashtag, our hook line here is meditate, meditate, meditate. This week we have a full moon coming up on the 19th, and aren't we just whizzing through this year? Aren't we just whizzing through? It's already going to be the end of February, getting into March. This 2019 is really activating. And what this reading so far is saying is, are you activated with it? Are you activating with it? You know, how far down the rabbit hole of mastery are you willing to go? And again, the invitation is to, with impeccability, show up, be and embody your inner master, your true master, and at the same time, that means a continual relinquishing of having to control anything at all. And really control is right, is such a polarized word. If anything you are going to control, and I say that word lightly, and really I would like to swap it out with devote yourself to, it's your practices, it's your spiritual practices, it's your meditation practice, it's practicing being silent. And look at how that turns on. We already know this, but let's just review and remind ourselves. That turns on the third eye. That turns you on. That turns me on. That turns the collective higher self on. That turns us all on when you get turned on. When you get turned on, I get turned on. When I get turned on, you get turned on. We all plug in to love, to light, to silent, to the space in between, to the silence. And we get turned on together. And that's what creates the collective of the fourth dimensional consciousness. That's what creates that special sacred space, the silence, the space between the breaths, the space between the thoughts, the space between the words. So again, we thank you, our angels, our guides, and all those light beings. We call you in. We call you in, our angels and guides, and we thank you for serving this most perfect reading for February 18th all the way through March 1st. We are so very grateful. We bless this day. We bless this reading. We bless this string of dates ahead, February 18th through March 1st of 2019. We had one fly out. We're going to keep going. They want me to shuffle now, to spin them in half, and to do our little Vegas shuffle. Well, look at who fell out, though. Isn't this beautiful? Boom! Creator. Okay, we're going to get to him here shortly. Thank you, our angels, our guides. Thank you, Osho Zen Tarot, for all the ways that you just truly illumine our path. Okay, we had a few more. We'll look at those here shortly. We are very, very grateful for the divine messages, and higher self, bless me with the perfect tongue that I may commune and deliver and divine the most high messages for everybody who's guided to stop by and watch or listen to this tarot reading for February 18th through March 1st of 2019, a general reading for the collective, for all those guided to listen, whether it's for 5 minutes or for the entire reading. May every single message, may every single thing that is shared, every morsel of guidance truly serve the highest good of everyone guided to come by. Okay, so I'm getting to stop here. We have a few that fell down. And also, okay, so this and this and this, okay, and then we're going to just put those to the side. So let's lay these out and see what's happening. Okay. All right. That's okay. So we have, I'm like, that's okay, because I see what's happening here in the subconscious. Now we're going to need some clarification on that one later. But so where we've been is represented by the laziness card. This is when we know, right? Oh, I should meditate. Oh, I should do some self-care practices. Oh, I should say no to staying and working late, even though it means overtime. I know for my health or for my mental well-being, my quality of life, I get to say no, but I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy with creating healthy boundaries. And so what that's doing is, sure, I might be making a few extra bucks working overtime, but if I'm not listening to my higher self, then what's happening is my spiritual musculature, my ability to be a master, becomes weakened. And what happens is that extra 20 bucks or whatever you might earn doing overtime, and believe me, I know there's times where we need that extra cash, and so you got to do what you got to do. But what I'm talking about, this is metaphorically, energetically, as a storyline. Just consider, right, sprinkling it over aspects of life. Because what happens is when we get lazy and we're not listening, we're not paying attention, as a master, we basically, you have completely surrendered. And there could be layers to this, right? We were talking about the levels of mastery, and that's something we could talk about maybe sometime on a 4D Trinity show. But there's these layers and these levels. And again, there's this point where you get to it and everything you do is for you and for your highest good and the highest good of all, yet the decisions you make, you don't make. You give it to God, you give it to love, you give it to source, your angels, your guides, that which is greater than you, that which is within you, yet also seemingly outside of you, right? That which is bigger than you. And what happens is, as we tread this path of mastery, and we say yes to being and embodying the master, then we get to learn how to walk that tightrope of listening, of honoring, and of showing up in that very beautiful way as the version of self that knows without knowing, I like to say, right? And what do we know? We know the truth. We know that the truth of all, the truth behind all form, behind everything, is love. And we get to relax into that love and let that mystical power of trust guide the way, open the way, and create the correct conditions for things to naturally unfold. You see, that's how we are carried. Again, though, when we're lazy with our spiritual practices, what happens is life becomes a burden. We've given our staff of power away, and we're allowing, in this sense, and I know we've had this card several times over the year or two that we've been doing these readings, but in this sense, so you see this person on top of the person, right? And they're just exhausted, and they're saying, yeah, go uphill, and the staff belongs to the person walking. That's their staff of power. That's their spine. That's their integrity. But they've given it away to this person that they're carrying uphill with this rooster on their head, and it's just like this burden. Yet that's what we do to the tar body. And it doesn't even have to be as deep as the tar body or the shadow self. Even just in the instance of, and this is a conversation that's a little deep, but I'm going to just give you a tad, because this master card came up and we're definitely en route. And I know I've had this experience, and maybe you have too. What's happening is that as we align with master, with the master within, and we start to really let ourselves embody that and listen to it and do what higher self says, you stop making decisions for yourself. You know the goal sheet, right? You know the vision board. You know the set points of where it is, or what you're doing, and what your skills are, and where you're guided to take them. And so you're working in that domain. Yet, again, the how, what, where, when, why is relinquished. And the point that I'm making is that as that communion, that connection with higher self becomes clearer and clearer now, and you could call it God, you could call it love, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but as that connection becomes clearer and clearer. And that guidance turns up higher and higher. The invitation here is to step up and to trust it, to meet it, to surrender to it. If you don't, everything's going to be fine. The world is not going to blow up. Right? So what I'm saying is that there's a level of your higher self that may guide a certain path in a situation. And you can either say, okay, I'm going to do it your way, higher self, or you can be like, I'm going to do it my way. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. You may find, though, that doing it your way over a certain amount of time is actually you being lazy. I pray this communes with you, is actually begins to create a little bit of a burden to the degree that you have stepped into that true level of mastery. Because stepping into power is, yes, on one hand, you stepping into knowing your power. That's you honing your craft, you working your skills, you getting impeccable in your trade and your gifts. Yet, in the divine alignment, there is a point where you really get to understand that it's not you doing it. Where it's you, but it's not you as well. It's Source channeling through you, just how we were talking about at the beginning of this show. And maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're fine with doing things your way. And I know, and there's this balance, you see. There's this dance that starts to happen, but only if you're awake to it. And I don't mean to say that if you're not in there that you're not awake or anything. But there's a turning of the page where things begin to shift on a deeper level, where you begin to realize that your higher self, that God, Source, Love, when you meditate every day, right, you have this divine connection with the divine, and the divine is always just steering you, guiding you in the way to be present in the moment. And that's how we stay present in the moment, is by listening, by honoring, by doing. Higher self, God, will tell you everything, what to do. And that, my friends, is what gives rise to this mastery, this impeccable, that's the name of our weekly tarot this week. Impeccable mastery. It's like there's a friend that I have, and I was just saying this to another friend, but there's a friend that I have who their timing is just off. I'll put that in the bubble of light. Their timing is just off. And what I get about that, and I speak for myself as well, but it's when we're not listening, because higher self, God, Source, will always tell you when to make the phone call, when to send the email, when to send the text, or whatever it is. And when we don't listen to that, then we're doing what we on our timetable, what we think needs to happen. And that's fine. I mean, that's human. That's what we do. But again, as we straddle this realm of like this real deep level of mastery, this impeccability of mastery, this is again you getting out of the way, me getting out of the way, and letting Source say, now call, now text. So it's not on your known timeline. And so anyway, so this person their timing is off, and it's always like it's rarely in a fluid flowing thing with my timing, and not that I'm perfect or I'm always listening or whatever, but this is just this idea for you to consider. What I've learned is that the more that I just relax and listen to that divine timing, even though I think I should send the text now, or I need to, or what if they don't, and whatever, all the 3D, the mind stuff that keeps us tick-tocking, right, back and forth. When I let that go and I let God, I find that the timing that ensues is impeccable, like this MasterCard. Like this mastery card. The timing that happens when I listen to the voice for God, when I do what I'm guided to do by higher self, by love, has a divine wisdom of its own accord that has nothing to do with me. I am just the messenger. So again, there's these intricacies, because if we don't master up, like, I mean, this is the second week in a row where it's like, hey, what's up, master? Like, higher self, like your inner master is saying, like, I'm going to channel through these cards and let you know that I see you. I see you and I raise you is what's going on. Because again, the other two cards in this subconscious, in this like hidden basement area, so we already have the laziness, we have the burden. So what happens is when we don't listen to that divine voice, when we don't honor those nudges that keep us in the now, that keep us in synchronicity and flow with that divine timing, again, things, we get our knickers in a twist, and things just have that like you're, you know, shifting gears, but they get stuck and it's not flowing. So all this is pointing to is these parts of self that are still holding on, right? Like the sorrow card, like the morality, there's parts of us that are just still in the clouds. There's parts of our mind, and you know what? And that just sums it up. This morality card that drives us to sorrow, drives us to tears, even though the truth is always there, is the part of us that has no heart. Look, there's no heart. There's no mystical power there. It's all clouds. It's all of the, excuse me, it's all of the mind. And the stuff that's here in the mind is very conditioned. It's very polarized. It's very binary, as we say here. It's very 3D and black and white. So there's no room. And this is because there's no room for spirit. There's no room for God, for higher self, because there's nothing in the heart. It's all head and hands pressed tightly. But there's nothing in the heart. There's no heart. And that's where spirit is. That's where love is. That's where source is. It's in that heart center. And when there's no heart, where's the pineal gland? Where's the third eye? There's no third eye. There's no vision, right? There's no vision. How can we be visionary as the masters that we innately are when all there are clouds blocking the rays? So basement, subconscious level of our being saying, this is who we are, this is where we go when we don't master up, when we don't do our daily meditations, when we aren't paying attention, when we aren't doing our prayers, doing your work, doing those things, those self-care aspects that help you remember who you are as a healed, unfragmented version of you, who you are at peace, who you are as a kind, loving person who can not only give love but also receive it, claim it, own it, enjoy it, and then share it back out again, right? Generously. So that's the root, that's the hidden, that's the base, right? Because if we're really going to attain this level of impeccable mastery, there has to be a relinquishing of the self with the small s, so that the self with the capital S, that which is in tune with spirit, with love, can be that voice through us, can be that divine guiding light through us and for us. And when we are connected with source, with God, with love, with light, and we allow that to guide the path, we cannot but help but be of service to others. Those actions that are taken, that are done as divinely guided by that love, by that light, are always connected to the coherency of the greater whole. And what's right next to silence, right? Either side of it is trust and creativity. And we know when we meditate and we get silent, we go within, we turn on the heart, we turn on the third eye. The heart center is all about this trust. Like we were saying, that mystic gift of trust, it's not about you. It's so about you. It's so about you, but it's so not about you. But it's so about you, but it's so not about you. It's like, it's the paradox. But it's a dance. And if you can be okay with that, with it's about you, you know, showing up, doing the work, and seeing through the directing of the energy as you're divinely guided to direct it, and then stepping away, and then it's not about you. It's stepping away and trusting that mystic gift of trust. which is love, aka the quantum organizer, to do, to handle, to manage all of those baubles, all of those things that need to come to pass, those things that need to connect in order for your vision to manifest, right? And as long as you keep meditating, as long as you keep creating the correct conditions to listen, to connect, to have that divine line alignment with Source, with God, with light, well, the inspiration will keep coming. Don't be afraid of sharing. Again, remember, that was a part of this, the impeccability of this MasterCard, right? Is to be generous. I remember there was such a long period of time where I didn't want to share some aspects of the teachings because I felt, on one hand, that I wasn't ready, but also I felt because I didn't have everything together in a way that I thought it needed to be presented, that became a burden to me. It created a miser, a thing where I was holding the teachings rather than just sharing them. And that's why these 4DTs and these tarots are so beautiful for me personally, because my higher self pushing me into doing these readings has allowed me, has given myself a platform to share, to speak on these things so that I can learn. And sharing them with you, I'm still learning. Even though I'm teaching, I get to learn. So where in life can you let go and be that channel of the gifts that you are here to share as generously as you can, and not hold on, because you know what? They get larger. The vision, the service becomes greater and greater when you share them. And those gifts, those talents, those ahas, those teachings, the whatever it is that you're here to share, whether it's about getting a home run in baseball or being an astronomer or whatever it could be, as you share, you're given more. And sometimes we get afraid and we think if we share that it's going to stop, right? But that's rooted in lack consciousness. And the more that we master ourselves in our lives, the more we know and we come to realize and recognize that lack consciousness is not real. It's a part of the illusion. It's a part of the 3D, of the polarized love versus fear, right? Consciousness. But this master of masters that we are, and that we are becoming, that we are invited to step into, is saying, is inviting us to say goodbye to that aspect, is inviting us to step into the greater paradigm of mysticism, the greater paradigm of really letting go. I mean, it's kind of deep. And the words that are coming is, it's like, if you die tomorrow and you haven't shared, you haven't started to explore sharing what it is that you're here with, whatever your gifts are. And again, you might know what that is, you might haven't got a clue, you might whatever, but perhaps, especially if you do have a sense of what that is, and if you know that you haven't started sharing that yet, maybe this is a call for you to start really being in consideration of what that would look like, of what that would feel like, of how you can start to generate that energy. Because that's what's because you know why? Because the more you share, the more the universe wants to give you more, and it's the circulation of energy. And that is true creativity. That is true creative power. It's not by getting an aha, getting an inspiration, and then sitting on it and hoarding it. And I know there's times, right? And I always say, be mindful who you share, your sacred nuggets with, and there is a time and space for everything. And maybe you don't want to share right away this part, but you can share that. But I pray that you understand what I'm saying. That if whoever I'm speaking to, if there's something that you're here to share and you're afraid to share because it's going to dry up, or you don't want to give all your nuggets away, or you think that you own it, you're identifying yourself with it, what the invitation is here is to let those ideas go and to sit within that paradigm of, if you die tomorrow, You know, what have you given away of yourself? What have you shared with the world of yourself? Or what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? So, that's either side of silence, though. You see, these are the gifts of the silence when we rest, when we take refuge in peace, in the breath, in the stillness of that silence, of that meditation practice. Again, the heart opens, the creativity activates, and our ability to be even further inspired in way of those divine creative gifts and abilities and how we're going to manifest, again, those visions, because this is mastery here. This is this next level of mastery, is like we're ready to now really start to get into the arena of bringing to earth in this 3D those gifts that are in your heart. And I feel like there's could be gifts that have been in there for a long time, like a decade or more. And universe, you have been preparing. Universe has been preparing. All of us have been preparing to see you, for you to be seen, and for us to be seen, for us all, again, that circulation of energy to be seen together and to see together. The collective third eye, the collective higher self, to see and be seen. And in a way, that's all it really takes for that manifestation. When we really get metaphysical about it, you don't have to do a thing. You don't have to do a thing except for meditate and love yourself. This is the trippy thing, you see. And I know there's some of you that are like, and there's some of us that are like, okay, wait, what does that mean? And I'm, what? You know, we're like wrapping ourselves around these ideas. This is this level of mastery, though, where it happens for you. It all gets taken care of for you. And I know you must have had some kind of experiences like that in some level or another in your life. Well, imagine that blueprint, that template, just laid over every single aspect of your life, your health, your finances, your career, your work, your visions, your relationships. Yet, it's that irony, it's that paradox of really knowing the truth and then letting it go. And why do we let it go? So that it can continually be expanded. Because you see, we're releasing the density of 3D. We're releasing the density of the dual notions of what we've been taught, of what we've been conditioned. We're relinquishing that, and we're moving into 4D consciousness. If you're with me, if you watch these shows, if you watch my 4D Trinity, you follow me on Instagram, you read my books, that's what I'm all about. That's what I hold space for, and that's what I teach. That's the rudimentary, the fundamentals of everything that I teach and that I share here. It's all bringing us into love, into light, into the heart, and trusting, allowing that which bridges the heart, that which channels through the heart, that being God, love, light, all things divine, beautiful, and blessed. That's the mastery within us. So any divine enlightened master who is in their power, again, knows that it is not their power that they wield. They know that they have accumulated and amassed, say like a martial artist, you know your shit, you know how to kung fu that, you know how to you know, how to key up, how to just do it all. Yet, at the same time then, so you've trained and you're ready. You're ready. You've been meditating. Yet there's also this, you step out of the way and you let and allow that which is within you, above you, and beyond you, whether you call it God, source, love, light, the divine, the force, whatever you call it, you get out of the way and you let that channel through you. You let that throw the punches or the kicks or the karate chops. You let that divine wisdom weave the baskets, write the articles, write the emails, make the phone calls. You let that part of you channel. You allow the impeccable master to channel through. That impeccable master is turned on. Harmony. Heart chakra and third eye. Complete opposite of morality, where that heart chakra and that third eye, there's no heart and there's no third eye. We're done with that. We're done with that. We're moving here. This is how you look when you meditate. Your heart and your third eye are turned on. And what we always say with this card, because of the dolphins, if you really are feeling an affinity with that dolphin energy, look up dolphin totem. It's deeply rooted in breathing practices. And look at, it's the number 10, the 1 and the 0. Here we know that we get to practice being one. The meditations, the healings, the spiritual growth training, all the books that we read and all the little exercises that we do and that we work on ourselves, bringing us into unity consciousness, getting out and away from the sense of separation consciousness, the sense of feeling alone or feeling lonely in the world, or like I don't fit in. Forget all that stuff. Forget all those are just stories. I mean, it's nice, and maybe you need to use those as a means to heal. Yet, we've got the Master card here, right? Those things are all these things. All those stories, that's all the stuff that keeps us in the basement, that keeps us bound and locked, right? To going on that uphill battle. But really, if you're meditating, you know, and maybe it hasn't happened yet, but at a certain point, you're going to start to really get a clear, especially you're going to get a really clear sense of your divine guidance, and especially as you keep showing up. If you meditate, you know, once in a while, that muscle will grow slowly. But if you show up in a disciplined, devoted way, that muscle is going to get really strong, and your ability to master yourself, to master your life, to understand what impeccability is to you, is going to get clearer and clearer and clearer. And so your ability to move us outside of judging, move aside from the old ways that maybe you used to project or judge or have fears, are dissolved because you've healed your past. You've healed your past at least to a degree that the tipping point can shift, and you can have a good time in the now. You're not dragging your past everywhere you go in your present and projecting it into your future. You've actually attained a certain level of sovereignty and freedom where you can relax, where you can enjoy. The past is not the thief of your current joy, right? You've let go. You're sovereign, or you're consciously working on cultivating that. And every time the little thing, the trigger or the thing comes up, you're aware and you have a tool, and you're working on refining and polishing and healing and blessing, forgiving, letting that part of the story go, so that again you can be free in the now. So again, this 1 and this 0, we attain the 1, the unity consciousness, by remembering our inner connection, by remembering that we are one soul, one love, one heart, one mind, one higher self collectively, fractalized as individual aspects. And the 0, right, the 1 and the 0 of the 10 on that harmony card, the 0 then we get to, once we have remembered that we are one, once we have had that recollection of oneness, then we can relax in that oneness and be carried through the portal of the 0. And I'm getting lightheaded as I say this. Through the portal of the 0 point of the heart. The 0 point of the heart, where God is, where truth is, where love is. And this is what's so exciting, because then, again, as we give ourselves over, as we give our gifts, I always say this, and let's say it again. From A Course in Miracles, there's that prayer. God, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? Dear God, where would you have me go? What would you have me say? What would you have me... where would you have me go? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? That's it. I mean, really, when you start asking, when you start saying that prayer, if it resonates with you and you start asking it, you'll be guided. Now, but you have your free will. So even though you get divine guidance from God, from Source, from love, from light, you can still decide what you're going to do with it. But this is the point where we're at with this impeccable mastery, because once we get to this fundamental point of being the one and the zero, of having recognized that unity consciousness, heart chakra activated, third eye activated, in the world, not of it, activated, heaven on earth activated. I'm learning how to relax in this beautiful space of being a master, which means I own the truth of my skills. I own the truth of my abilities and the vision in my heart, yet I have completely relinquished control of how those truths, of how those visions in my heart are going to come manifest. I give it to God, I give it to Source. And as that impeccable master, I am meditating consistently and so divinely guided, and so given this divine empowerment. Here, I'll do them one at a time. So that when I'm not meditating, right, and we know that there's a point, you meditate, your life becomes a meditation. It's not just when you're on the cushion or you have that 5 minutes with your headphones on outside of, not being with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your wife, where you could just like put the kids in the other room and meditate or whatever. Like, it becomes your life. You begin to live in that way. But it doesn't mean you don't make time to sit and be silent or go into nature or whatever your practices are. But what I'm saying is that we begin to bridge, right, this heaven on earth, this divine meditative state, this unification and this 0 point, and we bring it down to earth as the creator. But again, we are creating not just from our own battery pack of reserves of creativity. We are creating with great spirit. We are creating with an eternal, not just an infinite level and value of gifts, of talents, of abilities. When you move out of the way and you let God, I'm going to say the word God, and if you watch 4DT, we use the word God, but remember that it's just a word, and I'm not talking about anything religious. When I say God, you can think of the word love. It's love, though, without an opposite. God is love. Psalms, if that's even the way to say it, judgment. God is love without fear. God is love without judgment. God is love and only love. That is the love that exists in fourth dimensional consciousness. There's no ifs or ands or buts. Or at least, as we work our way into the purifying levels of 4D, there's a lot less of that. Because this 3D, the binary, this is where we do all that heavy. This is where we do all that work. But the more we release the burden of all that stuff of not listening, the more we release those clouds, the sorrow. It takes so much energy to not listen to your higher self. Like, once the light has gone on, I know if it's not turned on and you're like, I'm not really sure who my higher self is, or I don't know if I've really developed that communication so clear just yet. Cool. It all happens at its own divine alignment. But if you've reached that point where you're like, and you don't listen to that and you don't honor it, it takes so much energy to resist it, to ignore it, to not listen. When we listen, we are given wings. Again, the physical version, part of you, the personality, the name, the man, the woman, the whatever you identify as in this world, you become as one with the Creator. You channel love. You channel light. You channel God's love, light, creation, creativity. And so you bring down to earth. So this is where we are bringing to earth. This is it, Master. You're weaving. You've been weaving your baskets. You've created the next wheel. And in fact, the wheel has already been created. So if you're not creating the next wheel, you are creating the next variation or the next fabrication. You're adding to that which has already been divinely given. Bless you. But you're given that inspiration, spiritus, you are given that from God. And again, stepping out of the way is the true participation. It's like saying orange is the new black, right? We think we have to push, we have to muscle through, we have to make things happen. As Marianne Williamson would often say, those kinds of quotes, which I love that, you know. Yet what we do is we realize this very sophisticated and elegant system is already in place, where when we get enough trust and faith mastered up within us, we realize we can actually relax and let go and really let God. Again, that's when we start to channel that nectar, that like, the miracle is in your hands. And your third chakra is powered up. It's powered up from source because you're plugged in, my friend. You're plugged in. And so that's the new, orange is the new black in that way. Your participation is actually equal to your lack of participation. What you're being guided to participate in is to keep meditating. To keep meditating, meditate, 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 meditate. Keep meditating. Keep cultivating the ability to be silent, to be still, to turn the third eye on, to keep the pilot light in the heart stoked and awakened. That's your main plug in. That's the way that you are called to really start that fire, to activate your level of participation in the world. And again, from there, you will be told, you will be guided. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to who? And if God, the word God freaks you out, dear love, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? Very, very interesting and beautiful, because it's time now. What I'm getting from this reading is it's time now to really take this next step into bridging why you're here. Those, if you're watching this, you know, there's some resonance. I'm going to assume, I'm going to project. You know, that you feel a reason why you're here, and it doesn't have to be a big spiritual woo-woo thing at all. It can be to love thy neighbor. You know, it can be simple stuff. It doesn't have to be complex at all, at all. Loving thyself, loving thy neighbor. So the non-participation is the new participation, right? Moving away from trying to make things happen, from forcing things to happen. And we know if we're on any spiritual kind of, you know, like I'm on Instagram, and you know, people post those hashtaggy things, you know, flow, not force, align, you know, don't hustle, align, you know, and yeah, that's it. We get out of the way. We relax. And we let things come to pass. We let things manifest. Almost by themselves. All you have to do, Master, is hold space. And I'm getting lightheaded again. All you have to do is hold space. And we learn how to hold space by meditating. We learn how to hold space by meditating. So that's that. Now there was one random card all by itself that we're going to pull a clarifier up as we close. It's the dream, and we know this one. Now, this generally speaks about a romantic, emotional aspect, because we see this girl here, and she's looking over her shoulder, and she's looking over at this fantasy of her being held by this big, beautiful hunk, you know, where she's just totally taken care of, everything is just stable and beautiful, but the circumstances are not that just yet. Oh, I'm getting to call on the angel card. So what I'm feeling with this, because it's on its own and it's the last card for this reading, this could be, yes, on one hand, a relationship. This could be, on one hand, you thinking of someone, right, in an emotional, beautiful way, and having that longing and having that like, oh God, I just want to be close to them, or I want to be closer to them, or how do I get to talk to them, or daydreaming, right? Daydreaming about this person. Equally, this could be the dream of the vision in your heart that you seek to manifest, whether it's buying a new home, a new car. It could be the dream of a healing in your body, the healing in your mind, or of an addiction. It could be a lot of different things. It does speak, though, specific to intimate romantic relations. So let's ask our angel cards here for maybe a few clarifiers on the dream card, just to round us off to end this reading today. And we thank you so much, our angels and our guides. So I've got two here that have stuck in my hand. Let's see what they are. Courage. Courage. And doesn't that look a lot like trust? The little angel, floating and flying. Looks a lot like that trust, where it's just, you got to let go. Let go and let God, right? Obedience. Now, this is interesting. Obedience. Oh, and look, it's a stop sign. So there's a red light, a red, yellow, and a green. Obedience. And doesn't that speak, this just takes me back to everything we're talking about with the master, of that real honoring, that ability to show up, to honor, and to trust, to that mystic gift of trust, to trust that divine guidance that you're getting in your meditations is worthwhile. That is the truth, that is the divine guidance, even if it doesn't look like, how can this mean anything? How can sending an email to this person get me closer to that situation? Or how can me spending time with my grandmother when I really have deadlines, how can this really create the correct conditions for my vision to come to pass? So I just pulled out one more, and it's support. Look at this one little angel is helping the other angel get over the wall. And that's what we do for each other. So, okay, so as it speaks to this dream card, courage, obedience, and support, what I'm getting is that if this is another person that you have a romantic notion about, what I'm getting is you can lean into them. You can lean on them. I don't know where things will go romantically, but what I do get is that they see you. They see you. And this is obviously, if this is a pinup, right? If you're like, I feel like this about Brad Pitt, then maybe it's going to be, maybe the words that I'm saying won't be so conducive. But if this is someone that's in your field, I feel that, or that right? I feel that the dreamy aspect wants you to know that they see you and you are supported by them, right? Energetically, or in the way that they think of you, in the way that they see you. And in them seeing you, you are supported. You can lean into them, you can lean on them, and they will hold you up. That's what I'm getting. And the important thing is to muster that courage to keep trusting, right? One step at a time, the truth in your heart. And if the truth in your heart, specific to this person or this situation, this vision with the dream card, is saying that it's the truth, then keep showing up in a detached way, but keep showing up with courage, with that mystic gift of trust, and saying, okay, I'm here, and I'm showing up. I've meditated, and I'm following my divine guidance. And that obedience does speak to that meditating. That obedience speaks very, very powerfully to listening again to the higher self, like that impeccable master. It's really doing everything you're told by your higher self. What if you only did what you were told by your higher self? And funny enough, that's what's speaking to the dream card. So be your true, integral, impeccable self. Be your authentic self, right? When it comes to, if this is a little romantic thing, you have a fancy for someone, it is that dream, and you kind of have that fantasy about someone, slash, it's the dream of the healing, slash, it's the dream of the vision in your heart that you're just like so excited to manifest. Be obedient. Keep meditating. Keep connecting to source. Know that this event, this person, your life path of healing, romantic or otherwise, whatever it is, does support you. It does see you. The universe is saying, we see this situation. We know, like this whole thing, whatever this is about, romantic or otherwise, it knows. It is its own entity, if you will. And I mean that in the light of its own mass of information. It's real. Whatever this is real. And you are supported. Yet again, where it's to go in the future is not said, but what is said is just keep showing up, keep meditating. And with courage, keep bringing down to earth your truth. And you know, that it really just speaks to, right, there's your courage, and that really just speaks to, if this is a romantic somebody, or a potential romantic somebody that's going to be somebody with you, you know, as the grids run, as the timelines flow, as life continues on, well, wouldn't it be nice if they were the real somebody, if it wasn't just the fantasy Brad Pitt pinup, but if it really is and was that one? And how are you going to know that truth? How are you really going to know that truth? Because sometimes in romance, unless you're already married or you're in an established bond, we kind of want the quick fix. We want to know everything now, yet there's this beauty of letting things play out, and things can change. Who you think is the one today might not be the one tomorrow. This Fabio character that you're leaning into today might be a different person, might be a different sex, it might be a different, who knows what. But the point is that as long as you stay true to you, obedience, courage, meditate, show up, listen to your higher self to the best of your ability, start practicing and honing that impeccable muscle of mastering up, of doing what your higher self tells you to do. We could do a whole course, a whole like nine piece course meal on that for sure. But what it does want you to know again is that the situation is supported. It's the right, whoever you're leaning into, whoever you're having these thoughts of fancy about, I get it's a yes. I get that they got you. You know, and they want to give you a leg up. They do that. You that's already there. Yet just keep staying true to you. Don't be distracted. That's what I'm getting, is do your best not to be distracted. And I know it's difficult to not be distracted by fancy, shiny, romantic inklings. Yet, allow yourself to have fun and to know that that's a dream. And come back to connecting with Source, being obedient and honoring what is the truth in your heart, and trusting and allowing that mystical gift to open the way. Thank you so very much, everyone. I'm so grateful. I love this platform and I love this community. If this resonates with you, subscribe if you're not already. Give me the thumbs up, leave a comment, all of it. I'm so grateful. I have books. I have a few free books at iBooks and Kindle. And I also have a few books for purchase, The Reiki Apprentice and How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, both at Kindle. And Reiki Apprentice is at Kobo for my Canadian viewers. Hello. Sign up at my website, TuesdayMayThomas.com. Again, the link is below. Subscribe. You'll receive my monthly love letter. I'm going to send one out here in the next couple days for the month of February. And when you do sign up at my website, you receive a copy of my mini ebook, The Higher Self Blueprint of Mastery. If you are seeking to and guided to donate to this channel, there's a PayPal link below. I'm very, very grateful. If you would like to schedule a private reading, I have a really good special that's $30 for 30 minutes. I use PayPal and Google Hangouts, and there is a direct link at my website down below for that. You can send me an email and inquire. I have people writing from South Africa, South America, Australia, and it might take a moment to get the timelines set up for all the time zones and all that stuff, but we'll hook it up. I'm happy to answer any questions. So again, thank you, this beautiful community. May everything I share truly serve your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty. Blessings, Impeccable Master. May your next week, and even longer, February 18th through March 1st, be truly blessed. Namaste with so much love.